The Taj Mahal is considered by many to be the most beautiful building in the world. Private placement life insurance is considered by many to be the best asset structure available to wealthy families today. At EWP Financial, we build our asset structures like the Taj Mahal. How do we do this? In several ways. By turning complexity into simplicity. By putting your needs first. By creating for you an exceptional team of advisors. We are unveiling our new series, PPLI and EWP, Comprehensive Case Studies. Join us as we dive into EWP Financial's unparalleled expertise in PPLI asset structuring across global jurisdictions. Discover the power of PPLI's unmatched adaptability, tailored to thrive in diverse financial landscapes. In the rolling hills of New Zealand's South Island, brothers Mark and Kurt Williams have built a thriving sheep farming business. Both hold E2 treaty investor visas, allowing them to spend part of the year in the United States managing ancillary business interests such as agricultural tech investments. While both brothers seek higher returns and lower market correlation through their alternative investments, their approaches to tax management diverge dramatically. This case study examines the long-term financial disparity between the brothers, highlighting how PPLI EWP can preserve wealth amid the burdensome taxes on alternative investments.
A Tale of Two Brothers, the impact of high taxes on alternative investments, and the power of PPLI EWP structures. Background: the Williams brothers' investment journey. Born and raised in rural New Zealand, Mark, age 52, and Kurt, age 50, inherited a modest family farm and expanded it into a multi-million-dollar operation through innovative sustainable practices and global exports. With New Zealand's economy tied to agriculture, the brothers diversified their portfolios to mitigate risks from commodity fluctuations and climate challenges. By 2020, each had allocated $5 million to US-based alternative investments, attracted by opportunities in private credit, yielding steady interest, hedge funds for active trading, and real estate for depreciation benefits. As E2 visa holders spending about 120 days annually in the US, the brothers are classified as non-resident aliens for tax purposes, avoiding US taxation on worldwide income, but facing US taxes on US-sourced investment returns. New Zealand taxes their foreign income at rates up to 39%, with potential credits for US withholding taxes under the US-New Zealand Tax Treaty. 10% on interest, 15% on dividends. However, alternative investments often generate ordinary income, such as interest from private credit or short-term gains from hedge funds, taxed at high effective rates, potentially exceeding 40% when combining US withholding, New Zealand income tax, and compliance costs. The brothers' portfolios assume a conservative 10% annual pre-tax return, diversified across asset classes. Yet the tax drag varies significantly based on structure. Mark Williams leveraging PPLI EWP for tax efficiency. Mark, the more strategic planner, consulted international advisors and structured his $5 million allocation within a PPLI policy under an EWP framework. PPLI is a customized life insurance product for HNW individuals, allowing investments in alternatives like private credit and hedge funds while providing tax-deferred growth and tax-free death benefits. EWP enhances this by incorporating asset protection, shielding from creditors, privacy, succession planning, bypassing probate, and compliance simplification across jurisdictions. For Mark, a Bermuda-based offshore PPLI policy holds his alternatives, compliant with IRS rules like the Investor Control Doctrine and diversification requirements. Returns grow tax-free inside the policy with no annual taxes on interest or gains. Policy fees average 0.7%, netting a 9.3% annual return. Upon death, beneficiaries receive proceeds tax-free, effectively eliminating estate taxes. New Zealand has no estate tax, but U.S. exposure could apply to U.S. assets. This structure addresses common pitfalls: no Schedule K-1 delays, no phantom income, and mitigation of high ordinary rates on private credit, 8 to 12% yields, typically taxed as interest. For non-U.S. persons like Mark, offshore PPLI avoids U.S. estate tax on policy value, a key EWP benefit. Kurt Williams, the cost of conventional investing. Kurt, preferring simplicity, invests directly in the same alternatives without wrappers. His returns face immediate taxation, U.S. withholding, e.g. at 10% on interest under treaty, plus New Zealand income tax at 39%, resulting in an effective rate around 45 to 50% after credits and fees. Management fees 1 to 2% are non-deductible, and pass-through entities issue complex forms, increasing administrative burdens. For instance, private credit interest is taxed annually as ordinary income, eroding his 10% pre-tax yield to about 5% after tax. Hedge fund short-term gains and real estate depreciation recapture upon sale add to the drag, with no deferral options. Over time, this compounds the opportunity cost, as taxes reduce reinvestable capital each year. Comparative analysis, quantifying the gains over time. To illustrate the disparity, consider a 20-year horizon, from 2025 to 2045, assuming consistent 10% pre-tax returns and no withdrawals. Mark's PPLI EWP structure compounds at 9.3% tax-free, while Kurt's direct investments compound at 5% after tax. Mark's portfolio growth, starting at $5 million, grows to approximately $29.6 million. Kurt's portfolio growth, starting at $5 million, grows to approximately $13.3 million. Difference: Mark's investments yield about $16.3 million more than Kurt's. This gap stems from tax inefficiency. Kurt loses half his returns annually to taxes, while Mark defers and ultimately avoids them via the death benefit. In private credit alone, Kurt's double-digit yields are halved by ordinary income taxes, whereas Mark's accrue fully within the policy. Additional challenges for Kurt include liquidity issues. Illiquid alternatives hinder loss harvesting, and potential policy shifts, like U.S. proposals to curb PPLI benefits, though offshore structures offer resilience. Mark, conversely, enjoys EWP's multi-jurisdictional protection, ideal for their NZ-US lifestyle. Lessons learned: tax planning as a wealth multiplier. This tale of two brothers underscores the hidden costs of high taxes on alternative investments for HNW individuals like the Williamses. While both started with identical allocations, Mark's adoption of PPLI EWP, providing tax deferral, asset protection, and estate planning, resulted in over $16 million more in wealth after 20 years. Kurt's conventional approach, burdened by ordinary income rates, NIIT equivalents, and cross-border complexities, highlights the need for proactive strategies. For global HNW investors with E2 visas, structures like PPLI EWP aren't just optional, they're essential for preserving gains from alternatives. The brothers' story advises consulting tax professionals to tailor solutions, ensuring diversification doesn't come at the expense of after-tax returns. In an era of fiscal scrutiny, strategic planning turns potential tax pitfalls into opportunities for generational wealth.
For a complete explanation on how this question pertains to your own unique investment situation, please contact us directly by phone or by email. The opinions expressed in this video are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual on any financial structure, investment, or insurance product.